Why is it so hard? Why does it feel like you're your own worst enemy? You know the rules. You've studied the charts. You've read the books, watched the videos. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You tell yourself, this time will be different. This time I'll be disciplined. And then it happens again. A red candle that shouldn't be there, a stop-loss hit that feels like a personal attack, and that switch flips inside your brain. The calm, rational trader disappears, and the gambler takes over. I remember my breaking point like it was yesterday. It wasn't the biggest loss I'd ever taken, not by a long shot, but it was the one that shattered me. It was a Thursday. I was trading oil futures. I had a clear plan, a perfect A+ setup. I entered, set my stop, and felt that rare sense of calm confidence. Then a sudden, violent whipsaw. Price spikes down, took out my stop loss to the exact tick, and then immediately reversed, rocketing towards my original profit target. I just snapped. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was personal. It felt like the market was mocking me. So I jumped back in. No plan, no setup, just pure, unadulterated rage. I market ordered a massive position, convinced I could win it back. You know how the story ends. Within 15 minutes, I had not only lost back the initial small loss, but I had also wiped out 3 weeks of hard-earned profits. I just sat there, staring at the screen. My heart was pounding in my chest. My hands were shaking. But worse than the financial loss was the feeling of utter self-betrayal. I had promised myself I wouldn't do this again. I had promised my family I was treating this as a business, and in a moment of weakness, I broke that promise. I had become the statistic, the 95% who fail. That night I couldn't sleep. I just kept replaying that moment of madness over and over. I was trapped in a vicious cycle. I would trade well, be disciplined, build my account, and then one emotional trigger, one bad day, would undo everything. It was a cycle of hope, followed by greed, then fear, then panic, and finally despair. I almost quit. I was ready to throw in the towel and accept that maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. But as I sat there, at rock bottom, a different thought began to emerge. What if the problem wasn't my strategy? My strategy worked most of the time. What if the problem wasn't the market? The market is just the market. What if the problem was me, my mind, my reactions, my undisciplined, emotional human brain? That was the moment everything changed. I realized that becoming a profitable trader wasn't about finding the Holy Grail indicator. It was about forging a Holy Grail mindset. It was about stopping the war inside my own head. So I stopped looking at charts and started looking in the mirror. I embarked on a mission not just to learn how to trade, but to completely rebuild my mind from the ground up. And over time, I developed a blueprint, a 5-step process that took me from being an emotional wreck to a trader with a calm, disciplined, and truly unbreakable mindset. And today, I'm going to share that exact blueprint with you, step by step. This isn't theory. This is the practical, real-world system that saved my trading career. So if you're tired of the emotional roller coaster, if you're ready to finally stop being your own worst enemy, then turn off your distractions because we're about to begin.
All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts. This isn't a quick fix. This is a deep, foundational overhaul of your mental operating system. Each step builds on the last, so it's crucial you approach this with patience and commitment. Step 1, radical acceptance and the psychological audit. The first step is the hardest because it requires you to shatter your own ego. You have to stop blaming the market. Stop blaming your broker. Stop blaming that guru on Twitter. Stop blaming market makers. You must accept 100% unconditional responsibility for every single trade you take and every single dollar you lose. Your results are a perfect reflection of your decisions, and your decisions are a perfect reflection of your mindset. Period. Once you accept this, you can move on to the most powerful tool I ever implemented, the psychological audit. Most traders keep a journal, but they only track their P&L, their entry, and their exit. That's useless. You need to start journaling your emotions. Here's how you do it. For the next 20 trading days, I want you to meticulously document your mental state alongside every trade. Create these columns in your journal. Setup. What was the technical reason for the trade? Expectation. Before you entered, what did you feel? Were you confident, anxious, greedy, bored? Be brutally honest. Action. Did you follow your plan to the letter? Or did you enter early, widen your stop, take profit too soon? Result, win or loss. Reflection. This is the most important part. After the trade is closed, how do you feel? If you won, do you feel euphoric, like a genius? If you lost, do you feel angry, vengeful, stupid? After 20 days, you will have a data set not on the market, but on you. You will see your patterns in black and white. You might discover that you lose most of your money on Tuesdays after a big win on Monday because you get overconfident. You might find that you start revenge trading out of sheer boredom in the slow afternoon session. These are your psychological triggers. These are the landmines in your mental landscape. You cannot avoid them until you know exactly where they are. This audit gives you the map. It's painful, it's humbling, but it is the non-negotiable foundation for everything that follows.
Step 2. Designing a system for discipline. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's not about willpower. Willpower is a finite resource that will fail you when you're stressed. True discipline in trading comes from creating a system so rigid, so mechanical, that it removes your ability to make emotional decisions in the heat of the moment. You are building a fortress of logic to protect you from your own impulses. It starts with creating an unbreakable pre-trade checklist. This is a physical or digital list that you must review before you are allowed to click the buy or sell button. No exceptions. Your checklist should include market context. Does the trade align with the higher time frame trend? Setup confirmation. Does the setup meet every single one of your predefined criteria? Like, is price bouncing off the 21 EMA? Is the RSI below 30? Is there a bullish divergence? List them all. If even one box isn't ticked, you do not take the trade. Risk defined. Have I calculated my exact position size based on my predefined risk per trade, like 1% of my account? Is my stop loss set at a logical level where my trade idea is invalidated? Do I have at least 2 clear profit targets based on market structure? Mental state check. Am I calm, focused, and free from emotional distress? If you are angry, tired, or distracted, you are not allowed to trade. This isn't just a guide, it's a contract you make with yourself. Print it out, put it next to your monitor. The second part of your system is your risk management plan, which you create before the market opens. You decide your rules for the day when you are calm and rational, not when you are in a losing trade. Your daily rules might look like this. Maximum loss per day. I will stop trading for the day if I lose 2% of my account. Maximum trades per day. I will not take more than 3 trades in a single day, win or lose. The one-loss rule. If my first trade of the day is a loss, I must step away from the desk for at least 1 hour before I can analyze another chart. These rules are your circuit breakers. They physically prevent you from spiraling into a revenge trading disaster. Your emotions will scream at you to break them. Your system, your fortress of logic, is what will save you.
Step 3. Rewiring your brain. Practical mental exercises. Now that you have your map of triggers and your fortress of rules, it's time to go deeper. It's time to retrain the reflexive, emotional part of your brain. This is where we use proven psychological techniques to change our default reactions to market events. The first exercise is visualization for performance. Pro athletes do this religiously, and traders should too. Every morning before the market opens, spend 10 minutes in a quiet space. Close your eyes. First, visualize a perfect trade. See your setup form. Follow your checklist, enter calmly, and watch the trade move to your profit target. Feel the quiet satisfaction of a well-executed plan. Don't feel euphoria, just calm competence. Next, and more importantly, visualize adversity. Imagine taking a trade that immediately goes against you and hits your stop loss. See it happen. Feel that initial sting of disappointment. And then visualize yourself taking a deep breath, accepting the loss calmly, closing your trading platform, and walking away from your desk for your mandatory 1-hour break. See yourself following your rules perfectly, even in the face of a loss. By rehearsing this in your mind, you are creating a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain a new response to losing. Instead of loss equals panic or revenge, you are programming loss equals acceptance, follow the plan. The second exercise is mindfulness meditation for traders. This isn't about spirituality, it's about mental training. Trading requires intense focus on the present moment. You can't be dwelling on your last loss or fantasizing about your next win. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a massive difference. Use an app like Headspace or Calm, or simply sit quietly and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders to your P&L, your bills, or your mistakes, and it will, gently guide your focus back to your breath. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your focus muscle. You are training your ability to remain anchored in the present, observing the chart for what it is, not for what you hope or fear it will be. Finally, let's talk about effective affirmations. Most people get this wrong. Saying, "I am a profitable trader" when your account is bleeding doesn't work. Your brain knows you're lying. Your affirmations must be process-oriented and believable. Instead of outcome-based lies, use process-based truths. For example, "I am a master of executing my trading plan." "I remain calm and objective regardless of the market's movements." "I accept losses gracefully as a non-negotiable part of my business." Write these on sticky notes, put them on your monitor, say them out loud before your session. You are programming your subconscious mind to identify with the actions of a successful trader, not just the results. Step 4. The power of process over profits. This is the single greatest mental shift a developing trader can make. You must fall in love with the process of excellent execution and become completely detached from the short-term financial outcome. Your job is not to make money. Your job is to execute your well-tested trading plan flawlessly. The money is simply a byproduct of that flawless execution over a large sample size of trades. How do you do this? You have to change how you measure success. At the end of each trading day, don't judge yourself by how much money you made or lost. Judge yourself with a simple binary question. Did I follow my rules 100% today? If the answer is yes, and you lost money, that was a successful day. You strengthened your discipline. You reinforced good habits. You should be proud. If the answer is no, and you made money by breaking your rules, for example, you held a loser that turned into a winner, that was a terrible day. You just reinforced a destructive habit that will eventually blow up your account. You got lucky, and you should be worried. To make this tangible, start tracking your discipline score. Create a simple spreadsheet. For every trade you take, give yourself a score. If you followed your plan perfectly, give yourself a +1. If you deviated in any way, hesitated, chased, moved your stop, give yourself a -1. Your goal is not to have a green P&L at the end of the week. Your goal is to have the highest possible discipline score. When you do this, something magical happens. The anxiety of watching your P&L fluctuate begins to fade away. Your focus shifts entirely to what you can control, your own actions.
You stop caring about any single trade's outcome because you know that if you just keep executing your process, your edge will play out over time. This is how you achieve the Zen-like state that all great traders possess.
Step 5. Building resilience and longevity. Trading is a marathon, not a sprint. The market will inevitably hand you a losing streak. It happens to everyone, even the best traders in the world. An unbreakable mindset isn't about never losing. It's about having the resilience to survive those losing streaks with your capital and your confidence intact. First, you must understand the statistics of your own strategy. If you have backtested your system, you should know what your maximum expected drawdown is. You should know that a streak of 5, 6, or even 7 losses in a row is a normal, expected part of your strategy's performance. When you know this, a losing streak is no longer a psychological crisis. It's just a predictable statistical event. You don't question your strategy, you don't start changing your rules, you trust the data. You reduce your risk if necessary, but you continue to execute your plan with confidence, knowing that the wins are just as statistically inevitable as the losses. Second, your performance as a trader is directly tied to your performance as a human being. You cannot operate at an elite mental level if you are physically compromised. This means sleep, non-negotiable 7 to 8 hours. A tired brain is an emotional, impulsive brain. Nutrition, garbage in, garbage out. You wouldn't put cheap fuel in a Formula One car. Don't put junk food in your body and expect peak mental performance. Exercise. It is the most effective, underutilized antidepressant and anti-anxiety tool on the planet. Even a 30-minute walk can completely reset your mental state. Finally, you need to create a post-loss ritual. Remember how our old destructive ritual was to immediately jump back into the market to get revenge? We need to replace that with a constructive, positive ritual. My ritual is simple. The moment my stop loss is hit, I say out loud, "Loss accepted, execution was good, now we reset." Then I physically get up from my desk. I go make a cup of tea, I do 10 minutes of stretching, or I go outside and get some fresh air. This ritual serves 2 purposes. It physically breaks the emotional connection to the last trade, and it reinforces the idea that a loss is a normal event that is handled with a calm, professional process. You are replacing your revenge trading ritual with a resilience-building ritual.
So, those are the 5 steps. Radical acceptance, a system for discipline, rewiring your brain, process over profits, and building resilience. It sounds like a lot, I know, but let me show you how it all comes together on a real trading day. Just last week, I was trading the NASDAQ. My first trade of the day was a beautiful short setup. I followed my checklist, everything was perfect. I entered, and within 10 minutes, a surprise news headline sent the market screaming upwards, and I was stopped out. The old me would have been furious. I would have cursed the news, called the market rigged, and immediately looked for a way to short it again to prove I was right. But the new me followed the blueprint. Step 1, radical acceptance. I said out loud, "The loss is mine. I accepted the risk. The news is just part of the game." Step 2, system for discipline. My 1 loss rule kicked in. I immediately closed my charts and, per my plan, left my desk for an hour. Step 3, rewiring the brain. While I was away, I didn't stew in anger. I did my post-loss ritual. I went for a walk and listened to a podcast, consciously shifting my mental state away from the market. Step 4, process over profits. When I came back an hour later, I logged the trade in my journal. P&L, negative. But did I follow my rules? Yes, 100%. So I gave myself a +1 on my discipline score. It was a good trade, despite the outcome. Step 5, resilience. I knew that a single loss meant nothing. My backtesting data told me that my system was profitable over the long run. I was ready to approach the next setup with complete objectivity. Later that day, a perfect A+ long setup appeared. Because I was calm, because I had preserved my mental capital, I was able to execute it flawlessly. That one trade ended up covering my initial loss and turning the day into a profitable one. But here's the key. Even if that second trade had also been a loser, the day still would have been a success. Why? Because I followed my process. I was in control of myself, which is the only thing we can truly control. This is what an unbreakable mindset looks like in action. It's not about being a robot without emotions. It's about having a robust system that channels those emotions and prevents them from dictating your actions. So where do you start? You start with one thing. Don't try to implement all 5 steps tomorrow. Your journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your first step, your only mission for the next 20 trading days, is step 1, the psychological audit. Create that journal, track your emotions, identify your triggers. Get to know your enemy, the emotional, impulsive trader that lives inside of you, because you cannot defeat an enemy you do not understand. This journey transformed my life, and I know it can transform yours too. It's time to stop looking for the next magic strategy and start building the one thing that will truly set you free, an unbreakable trading mindset. The power is in your hands. Start today.